Hello everyone, my name is Mitchell Bates, and in my second presentation for this class, I'm going to be talking about NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. Okay, so a little bit of background information on the North American Free Trade Agreement, or better known as NAFTA. This is a trade deal between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. This took place when George H.W. Bush was in office for us. Brian Mulroney signed the agreement for Canada, and Carlos Salinas de Gortari signed the agreement for Mexico. It was signed in 1992. By the end of 1993, all three countries had ratified it, and then it took effect on January 1st, 1994. The purpose of NAFTA was to help eliminate tariffs and customs patrols and delays and things like that to promote economic growth between all three of the countries. Some tariffs were eliminated immediately on that day. Other tariffs stood for over 15 years before they eventually were repealed and taken care of. And like the PowerPoint slide says, it effectively created a world in between these three countries that where free trade was possible and nobody had to worry about tariffs or things like that. Okay, so the concept of liberalism in NAFTA. Liberalism is the entire idea or concept that um, countries, different nations, different states can solve problems without violence. They can solve it through diplomacy and different policies and basically talking things out with no war, no bloodshed, anything like that. And a lot of times, the whole point of this liberalism concept is to do something that's mutually beneficial to solve a problem. So make a pact that solves problems for both sides. NAFTA helps ease trade between all three of these countries and promotes economic and political growth through this. So because it's lifting these tariffs off these exports from these countries, companies can grow, and it's cheaper to send product to different countries and to sell product in different countries, and through that they earn more profit, and through that they grow. And this basically maximizes efficiency in the manufacturing of goods to the point where export has little to no cost, and that is why there were a lot of people behind NAFTA, is because it found the point of efficiency in the manufacturing of goods and helped promote it. Okay, so these are some of the pros of the North American Free Trade Agreement. Prices dropped in all three of the countries for basic consumer goods. More availability, more competition between companies, lower costs, pushed the prices down. Consumers had more spending power. Overall, consumers benefited from NAFTA because of the price drop. The national GDP rose because manufacturing took a little bit of a rise in two of the three countries. The more people that are productive, the more the GDP rises, and the more the GDP rises, the more the standard of living rises in the country. So it definitely pushed people to live better. It strengthened ties between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Because we have these ties of manufacturing and reliance on buying these goods from these two countries, we are more likely to stick behind their back and back them up if they needed it, if they were attacked from another country or something like that. Mexico and Canada both benefited from increased production of exports. You make more, you can sell it more, and that pushes the price down, and you make more profit. It all goes back to that price dropping and the consumers getting more spending power to spend it on what they need and what they want. Okay, so the cons of NAFTA. First con is the U.S. lost many manufacturing jobs to Mexico and Canada because it's cheaper to make something in Mexico and pay a worker less and then just ship it over here instead of paying a U.S. citizen, over minimum wage to make this part when you can pay, almost pennies on the dollar in Mexico to have it made and have that cost be, the shipping cost still be under what you would pay in the U.S. NAFTA did some damage to small business owners and small farmers, mainly in Mexico, just because big farmers, they take all the land and they can do everything cheaper. They can sell their crop at a lower price and still manage to make a profit, whereas those small farmers rely on a higher profit margin to cover the costs of their business, to pay for that equipment, to pay for that seed for the next year. The third con is it pushed wages down for non-secondary educated workers. So anyone who didn't go to college, any blue collar worker, any skilled trade person, lost out a little bit when their wages dropped after NAFTA because of almost the same thing. The same concept with the manufacturing jobs is that sometimes it's easier to ship it out to another country, have it made cheaper, and then ship it back, and it's more cost effective that way. Okay, here are my references. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.